Hi and welcome to Access Chat. I'm delighted that we have with us today Nurdeniz Tunca for the last Access Chat of 2015. It's been a great year and we're delighted to have such a great guest with us today. So Nurdeniz, I know that you have been working tirelessly to set up Turkish Guide Dogs Society and doing other work as well. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you came to get involved with disability rights and all of the work that you're currently doing?
Okay, hello again. It's my pleasure with you to be here. It's a pleasure. And I'm visual impaired lawyer in Turkey. I have been living my low vision problem since 10 years old. After that, my life changed. And then I decided to be a lawyer. When I graduated university, I was managing myself. It wasn't very bad. And, my vision is getting lower and I learned English in the USA, Washington, D.C. When I was there, I saw a lot of seeing dogs around the city. First of all, I was scared from dogs, but after that, I understood how it's important for visually impaired people, the guide dogs, but it was too difficult in my country when I saw that. I was thinking. And then I came to Turkey. I started my business life. 2014 2014, actually, I introduced with Mrs. Maggie Moo. He's in Turkey, the British ambassador wife. She's excellent. She was role model, and she came to Turkey with her guide dog Star. Star was excellent. She wasn't barking. She was very nice, and I decided to have guide dogs. And after that, we have decided to set up guide dogs in Turkey. And Mrs. Maggie Moore support me. She's excellent. And then we start our work. What is our purpose? Actually, we would like to provide to people like UK or USA to give people free charge guide dogs, and we would like to support them legally. We will give them guide dogs and we will support them to go to the restaurants and local places. My dream is to have many blind and visual people to move around, the active, the dynamic blind and visually impaired people. We have a lot of projects indoor. There are a lot of improvement in Turkey. We are going to be member of European Union, and we have to change our rules. Our association is Europe Guide Dogs Federation. They always check our criteria. They support us for that.
Okay.
That's the summary.
Okay. So I understand Turkey's not a country. It's not a dog country. So you've got a cultural gap to bridge as well as the gap with disability law. You're introducing um, a, some different elements into a culture that's not used to having dogs around. So when you say that you're changing the law, I assume that you're talking about allowing, changing the law to allow access to buildings, restaurants, and all of these places where it's not normally somewhere where dogs would be allowed. Is that
Yeah,
work that you're undertaking?
yes. Actually, we have a very, very good disability law, but we don't have specifically law for guide dogs. But our first aim is awareness people. We would like to inform people about guide dogs, how important for blind and visually impaired people, so they will understand. Then slowly, slowly, we will start our, guide dogs very comfortable. First of all, inform people, awareness people. It's different from pet. It's not pet. It's our friend. It's good for our safe. We would like to be more independent. We would like to be in safe. So we should awareness. We should inform people.
Okay. So do you have a dog yourself now?
I will have. I'm waiting for that. Actually, we have a freelance trainer from UK, Alan Brooks. He will help to get easily. all the time it's not suitable. We check around Slovenia, Romania, but we couldn't find suitable guide dog for me because I'm walking very fast. That's why I'm waiting
Okay.
from different country as soon as possible. Also in Turkey, we have just started with 2 guide dogs in Ankara. So first year we will provide to people 2 guide dogs. Next year, I think 2017, October, we will give them.
Okay, brilliant. I think Antonio, you have a question?
Yeah, yes, I do. Can you tell us about what type of initiatives are you planning to have in order to create awareness in relation to guide dogs, knowing that there's a lot of international business in Turkey. Who come from countries where those laws and those practices already exist. So, what is going to be your starting point here?
Actually, we have just started awareness people, inform people. First of all, we opened the information booth at the shopping mall, the biggest shopping mall in Europe side in Istanbul. And then we always have a conference at university, high schools, elementaries, because we don't want to do temporary projects. We would like to do long-term projects. If you want to do long-term projects, first of all, you should start with young people. In our country, there are a lot of young people. They are very dynamic, energetic, and I know that if we inform them, we will be very strong and we will be successful.
Thank you. Are you also connecting with schools and universities?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we have a connection. Actually, last month we were in Malatya. It is in east of Turkey. It's challenge, east of Turkey. They invited us to inform their schools, their students. It's very small city and conservative city. It's very small and traditional city, and they invite us. Also in Istanbul, we had a conference at private Koç University. It's very popular, very successful university. We inform young people. Another things in our association, we have majority young people, 18 to 30 years old, and they have a vision. They would like to do many projects. We want to give guide dogs to people, but we would like to inform their life. You can understand. My philosophy is to learn fishing. We don't want to give fish. We would like to show them fishing. We would like to inform them. We would like to motivate the blind and visually impaired people. You can learn English or different culture, or you can travel. We would like to do that. My first purpose.
Can you explain us what type of support and how for people who are visually impaired in Turkey is organized?
Actually, if you compare in 10 years, there are a lot of improvement. You could see voice lights, Braille alphabet menus. If you travel with Turkish Airlines, you can get Braille menu, very nice things, but we need more. It's not enough. There is a disability law, but perception is still very low. We have to inform people, families, friends, person with disability can understand, can do something. You should give opportunity. We have a slogan. First of all, never give up. Second one is get a dog, get a job. It's the slogan. You can be more independent. Absolutely, if you have a walking stick, you can do many things, but if you have a dog, you can be more independent. I didn't use walking stick because I'm losing, very slowly, and I didn't have ability to use that. But I know guide dog is very helpful. So, we have to do more things. If you have a guide dog, you have to get on the bus. In here, Metro has a symbol with the guide dog symbol, but you have to go to somewhere else, theater, cinema, you know. You have to put braille sign all cities. You have to do in the lift voice system. It's very important. Yes, it will be very soon because we have a very good disability law. It has to be complete till 2017.
So I know Deborah's got a question. So just to recap, your disability law has strong timelines, and so you have milestones that have to be completed by year after next.
Yes, actually it was before, but they extended that. You have to do, for transportation things, but not guide dogs. It's related for physical accessibility and digital accessibility,
Okay.
In here, only Middle Technical University has digital accessibility. In Istanbul, it's very nice, very beautiful city, but it's a little bit difficult for disability, It's not easy to walk for people. So we have to do many things, but we will do because we have a disability law.
Okay. Deborah, I know you've got a question. You've been waiting patiently.
Oh, no. Great. It's such an important topic, and I know that Turkey was one of the countries that signed and ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and will be actually you're going to be being reviewed on that in the next couple of years as well. And so you're one of the countries that is in queue to be reviewed. I think you've got like 2 years.
Yeah.
So all of the efforts that you're doing in your law, all of that will, come together. And when I visited Turkey along with some other leaders, we were really impressed with what the advocacy that's taking place in your country. I know there's a lot of work to do, just like there's a lot of work to do all over the world, but Turkey really, I think, is going to be one of the countries that show the rest of the world, what can be accomplished in a short amount of time. So the other question I wanted to make is, of course there's a lot of, problems in the world right now, with terrorism and stuff, but Turkey is a beautiful place to country with beautiful, amazing people. And I haven't visited Istanbul, but I think there's also such an opportunity in Turkey to welcome travelers with disabilities that use guide dogs and need other accommodations. So it's a real travel opportunity for
Absolutely, I agree with
tourists.
you.
Yeah.
Actually, I have another project. The project is Voice of Art. If you go to some museums or some exhibition, they will put braille things and voice for the people. We have a project. We will start next month that project. It's very important. And many indoor projects. We have audio books, audio newspaper, many things. Developing country. Absolutely, we have issues. For the perception. All the time, I would like to repeat. Perception is very important.
Right.
Actually, this person with disability, they have to change their mind. They have to go out. They have to call the center to get the information. They should use iPad, iPhone, different things. I don't want to give the brand name, but there are a lot of improvement with the technology. So technology is important. And if you get dog or if you have a opportunities, you should use that.
This Voice of Art project, is this audio description for art and in art museums and galleries?
We will start. Actually, we arranged the project. It's my dream actually, because our country, we have very strong history. From Ottomans, different cultures. They have to travel. If we do that, small, we will start that. It will be very nice.
Okay. Yes, you've got amazing history. So many cultures have been through and settled and influenced in your part of the world. That there's an awful lot for people to learn. So, what I'd like to understand is, you have all of these projects and you have your own law firm. Are you taking on cases outside of disability advocacy, or do you spend all of your time working on these
Actually,
projects?
normally I have a law. Actually, I work with companies for commercial law and contract law, but I'm interested in disability law in
Okay,
here. And I had many conferences at the universities, Istanbul University Law Faculty, about disability law and NGOs, related NGOs. Actually, yes, I always help to people to get their rights for disability.
okay, but it's even more impressive. You're doing all of this stuff, and effectively you have another day job, which is the sort of commercial law side of things. So,
Yes.
my hat, I'll take my hat off to you.
Yes,
That's
very
impressive.
impressive.
Deborah, you have another question?
Working, everyone knows, if you work, you are there. I would like to show people all the time. I would like to be, active, dynamic. You have to produce something. You shouldn't stop. Yes, I have a problem. It's getting worse, but technology is improving. So you can show people you can live your life. You can lose your one organ. The organs work hardly. It's closing the other parts issue. Your ears can hear better than before. Your brain is working faster than before. So you can manage your life if you want.
Can you tell us a bit more about that? So when you are doing your work here and your activities, are people asking you about how you are able to make or be independent and do all your work? Can you see yourself as someone that is also evangelizing and help others to have awareness about the different possibilities?
Actually, I always work with audio systems. Sometimes I use magnified, but it's too difficult. It's taking too much time. I work with my assistants. I have one of the assistants from abroad and one of the assistants from Turkey. So this is a teamwork, and I have internship students, another lawyer partner. It's a teamwork. I can manage. So all the time I have a meeting, I can work.
Okay. Deborah, you had a question?
Yes, it's sort of following the same line of that we've already been tracking. But so, do you have an NGO separate from the law firm, or do you do your work at the law firm and then help other NGOs, with disability inclusion?
Actually, it is totally different. I have been working a lawyer since 2005, and the NGO has been started 2nd of October 2014, and I have been working for disability law since 2013.
Okay.
Okay.
Very interesting what you're getting accomplished over there. We definitely, we're so glad that you're on so that we can talk about the work and, maybe help in other ways too.
Yeah. We're delighted to have you here. One of the things that we really enjoy about Access Chat is seeing what's happening in other countries, because we're obviously working in our own English-speaking Anglo-Saxon bubble. I know, Antonia, you don't quite qualify as Anglo-Saxon, but you're working in an Anglo-Saxon culture, and
I love British culture. I love being in the US. I stayed there almost 1 year.
okay.
But many years ago, 12 years ago, I was in Washington, D.C. Then I always travel to UK. I have a client from UK, and I have a client from Germany. That's why I travel a lot. I
Okay.
prefer to travel alone. I would like to try what's going on. I travel with Lufthansa, the other airlines, Turkish Airlines. I would like to see what's going on for blind and visually impaired people. What happened. I always check that. 2014, actually October, I was in Northamptonshire. I didn't know anyone in Northamptonshire, and I arranged one of the lady. She was very nice. She knows the people who have a disability. Her father was blind, you know, to
Okay.
3 years old. Years. That's why she recognized the problem. I stayed with her, and I had many friends from UK in 2 weeks. You know, I would like to know the other culture. I would like to have an experience the other countries, USA, UK. It's important to compare with my country. And what can I do? Last summer in August, I sent one of the friends, actually Regent University in the UK, and she stayed 3 weeks. And Regent University provided for her assistance. And last, I think third week, I went there. We stayed together. I have had experience, you know, at the university in the UK for the blind and visually impaired people. It was very nice.
Yeah, I think the universities in the UK do a very good job.
Yes.
I spent a lot of time working in my previous job supplying accessibility stuff to universities, and if anything, the higher education system in the UK is probably the time in people's lives that people are most supported, because there is a really great infrastructure there. It's not quite so good and not quite so well organized when you get into the world of work, but it's still not bad, and we can always do more. Okay, well,
Regents was sponsored to her. It was very nice.
okay.
I would like to do from all over the world more dynamic and energetic blind and visual people. They have to travel, you know, they have to be sure for their life, and you know.
So are you planning to travel with your dog?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. We've reached the end of our half hour. It's flown by. So I'd like to say thank you once again. It's been a great pleasure chatting with you, and look forward to you joining us on Twitter tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.